Welcome back to the only content that you know. Welcome back to the same video 65 billion times. Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter 305. It is the third day of the week, aka the Spirit Bomb workout. I am feeling pretty good right now. I am very excited and looking forward to this workout. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today, which was alluded to in the previous episode right here, which was about content pigeonholing, but nothing to do with the 304s. It's a little different. But anyways, I was this close to making this about Pitbull, but maybe I'll talk about him on a different day. But anyways, to the main subject. The main reason why I wanted to talk about this pigeonholing, particularly when it comes to content creation pigeonholing, is the fact that that is one of the biggest issues I think when creating content nowadays is the problem, really. There are a lot of issues when it comes to it. You have to worry about the things that you say, the things that you do, all those things. But the biggest issue I have to say is pigeonholing. So what do I mean by pigeonholing? It is the idea that once you get famous for one type or style of video or one certain topic, it is very hard to shake that entire video style or topic or whatever from that. Whatever social media platform you are on will try to pigeonhole you into that one exact thing. And it sucks because a lot of the time, particularly with certain social medias, particularly TikTok and things like of that nature, you'll find that people will end up getting pigeonholed a lot. And you'll see this across a lot of platforms. It's not just those two, it's a lot of them. So today we're going to be looking at that, explaining a little bit more as to what happens and why it happens, and how sometimes going viral, as though, even though I hate it, I've talked about it right here, the idea of it at least, even though it is something that people want to do, it isn't something that most people should want to aim for if they want to make this a long-term game, because realistically that's a short-term gain for a long-term loss, because realistically it's unsustainable. But that's kind of a whole other subject. But we'll talk more about pigeonholing, because that leads to another thing, which might be tomorrow's episode, but we'll have to wait and see. But I just wanted to talk about this because this is particularly a trend that you just happen to see with a lot of people. So with that being said, I will see you at Mother Base.
All right, so start this day off with AD press, which was pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Content pigeonholing. What happened was I saw a video of this kid who ended up getting popular by a video that was like about a meme about his face because he was kind of not good looking, or just he looked ugly. That was the entire point. And the joke was on him. And that video got extremely popular on TikTok. But the issue was that because that one video got him popular, that was the only style of video that people wanted to see. So thus he ended up kind of making the same style of video where the joke was on him, and thus created a moment where he gained notoriety, but he was known for basically doing a jump scare with his face, which obviously could lead to many different psychological issues, of course, but also it still kept up the views, but also started to dwindle after a while because it was the same one note. And that's the issue with the content pigeonholing, which happens because social media platforms decide that if you get popular doing one style or one method or one subject matter of video, you will end up doing that forever, really. Now, there are people who pivot out of it, but it is hell to pivot out of it. A lot of the times people will end up doing the same thing over and over again, which we will get to in a different episode. But here it's more of the idea that social media will use whatever got you popular as your one thing. And it sucks because depending on what your one thing is, it could be good and it could suck. It could be something as simple as the way you look, the way you dance, whatever the hell, depending on what your social media you're using, your subject matter that you like to choose or talk about. It could be whatever. But if it is something like, let's say, a meme that you were just created, you're kind of screwing yourself to the point where you can only grow through that medium, and it can suck depending on what you're doing. Because if you are, let's say, someone that likes to do videos about, let's say, movies that are like obscure, but you end up doing a movie that happens to cross over with like a real life horror thing. But then all of a sudden now video gets popular. So now you have to do nothing. You try to do other videos like your original plan, but you end up doing another horror video, right, of a movie that you're not as interested in, but the other one did numbers. And then all of a sudden that one does numbers. And now you are kind of stuck doing these style of videos in a way because the algorithm will only push those the other ones that got popular before it. And it kind of creates this weird vicious cycle where you're kind of screwed, and people always try to escape it. You can see this a lot on YouTube where they will create other channels with the content that they actually want to make versus the regular channel where this is just to pay the bills, depending on which type of person you're looking at. But a lot of the times that happens. You'll get people making like third, fourth, fifth, sixth, even like channels with other people just so they can do something different that doesn't affect them in their bottom dollar in their first channel, because the first thing, let's say, they got popular doing Let's Plays, And it sucks because it just, depending on what the internet dictates is your thing, you could be just pigeonholed and typecasted into a terrible scenario in which, imagine, for the next 10 years, the thing that you had some fledgling interest in happens to be the one thing that you hit the nail on the head on. And then congratulations, you have a career that you kind of don't really care for. It's kind of interesting. But this happens a lot in Hollywood where they will typecast certain people into certain roles. That's why people do certain movies to get out of it. You can see Adam Sandler was typecasted as like the funny guy. That's why he did Punch Drunk Love. You can see this as well as Jim Carrey, who ended up doing Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You can see this a lot, and it happens a lot. But it is very hard to shake that typecasting or that pigeonholing that either social media or whoever is behind the juggernauts of these platforms and Hollywood decide upon you. It's very interesting because you can see it no matter where you're at. You can see it in music as well. You can see that from like, let's say, for example, the second Panic at the Disco album was completely different from their first one, and also completely different from their third one. It's just an interesting thing that once you are known for one certain style of thing, you're kind of just stuck there, and you can try to expand it out, but it is a very rare thing to get out of it. So with that, you end up kind of getting into a weird content recycling circle, but that's for a different episode.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. Pigeonholing, as in content creation pigeonholing. The main reason why I wanted to talk about this is because this is something that, unfortunately, is a reality in the content creation space nowadays, or mostly a lot of stuff, actually. Once you are known for one thing, you're kind of just known for that. What is that? They used to do that. Not stereotyping. There was a word, typecasting. There you go, in Hollywood and all this other stuff. Of course, there are ways to break it, but also at the same time, you have to hope to God that somebody gives you a chance to break it, really, and it kind of sucks, but that's kind of a different territory. Realistically, in the spaces of the social medias and stuff, you have to really make sure that if you are getting popular, you aren't getting popular off of one thing that you do, but more so you yourself, if that makes any sense. Because of the fact that if you are getting popular off of one thing, then realistically whatever you're doing transcends you, and thus you are replaceable, or you're just doing the same thing for the next 10 to 15 to 20 years, and thus you get the content burnout, which is a whole other discussion that happens all the time with a lot of people. And you see it because they're not allowed to be creative. It's like they are a creative person that gets into a creative field, then can't be creative anymore. They're kind of just stuck in this one spot. It's kind of like why people end up leaving channels or burning out or doing all this other stuff, because they realize they're kind of just shit out of luck, or start a second channel and try to like let people go to another thing, so that way they have some other type of creative outlet. It's very hard to do anything like that. So it sucks that things like that happen, but it is what it is. It is something that it happens, and hopefully if it does happen to you, you are able to get either out of it or are able to be such a dominant force in personality that you can get past it. That's the other thing, but that's kind of a whole other subject for a whole other day. But with that being said, Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This one's more of a random one, but still in the same realm of the things that I always talk about. One day it'll be a truly random one. But please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there. Stay cool. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.